Your trauma can be permanent or temporary, but that's going to be just up to you. And I know that can be quite triggering for those of you who are having recurrent trauma that they can't deal with or get rid of, that is intruding in their present and is related to experiences from the past. But in order to understand trauma and the nature of whether you need to keep it or whether you can let go of it, you need to understand the mechanism that is underlying what's at work when we think of the label that we've been given as trauma. It's actually popular these days to have traumas and to discuss them. Everybody's got one, everybody's got some sort of story that their childhood was traumatic or that they've had past events that are shaping the way they feel right now. They've externalized how they feel today based on what's already happened at some time in the past. But in order to understand that, what we need to understand is what is the mechanism at work. We live our lives completely in the present moment. In fact, we can't live them anywhere else. This moment is now, this moment is now, this moment is now, and it's all we can experience. We are sensory beings that process this moment through our senses, all of our senses, and we synthesize it into experience, and it happens only now. And the past doesn't exist in the senses. We can't sense the past, and we can't sense the future. So we have no access to the past or the future aside from in our thoughts. What is a thought? It is the voice of an idea that we created earlier. When an idea speaks, we hear it as the voice in our head. And that's why we can have multiple discussions with ourselves, because we can hold two contradicting ideas and they can speak to each other essentially and play devil's advocate on two sides of an argument. So thoughts are ideas speaking, and ideas are concepts that we form that have polarity based on experiences we have in the present moment. We call it judgment to create an idea. So this moment we judge it and we say, I like it, I don't like it, I want it, I don't want it, I believe this about it, I don't believe that about it. And we can judge what people say to us in any given moment. We can judge a smell, we can judge a taste, we can judge a experience overall that's the synthesis of every sense. But all we can do is have experiences. They have no meaning, they have no polarity, meaning they're not good or bad, right or wrong. But we have the experience, and then we're at liberty as humans to create an idea about those experiences. We don't have to, but we often do quite arbitrarily, and we create an idea that many experiences are good or bad, liked or disliked, should have happened, shouldn't have happened, and those ideas later speak to us. They also have another mechanism at work, and that is that we can decide an idea is not just good or bad and the polarity or what we think about something, and it will speak to us if we do create the idea, but we can decide it's either true or important. Interestingly, no idea is true because it's a subjective viewpoint on an experience. Even a scientific viewpoint isn't truth, it's just an opinion on what might be happening because we can repeat an experiment many times. So ideas are not truth, they're subjective, and just to prove that, two of us can have the same experience and you could decide it's great, I could decide it's bad, and we'd both believe it to be true of the idea that we hold about the experience. So it's ultimately subjectivity. So you decide one thing, I decide another, we both believe it's true. So ideas, which are the root of all thoughts, are something we can create arbitrarily, needlessly often, and they have a polarity. So we think they are good, bad, right, wrong. So we're going towards some of them and we're running away from others. That means some of them we don't like and we want to avoid, others we think we need to live again, and we go around in circles trying to do that. So we end up spending our lives trying to get to the things that we've decided we like and to go away from the things that we've decided we don't. Trauma is a very easy to describe situation. So in the present moment, we have an experience, and that experience imprints upon our idea set, and we decide it's particularly bad, particularly shocking usually, because normally it's an idea that it's an experience that sat outside of our expected experiences. So when something's unexpected, and expectations are ideas too, when something's unexpected, it can be a shock if it happens, and it becomes even more impactful and more important. So experiences that we didn't anticipate are high impact. Experiences that we did anticipate are tending to be low impact. So if things always went the way we thought they would, we would be in a state of calm. If the world never does what we expect it to do, which is more like the truth, then we can be shocked and we can be offended, etc., because it doesn't meet our expectations. So trauma, the label, is the simple creation of an idea about an experience from your past. And that idea, depending on how important you made it, will become a trigger for your present moment, and it will take you from the present moment, which is totally sensory and is not a product of thought. It will take you from the sensory experience into the thought experience. And in the thought experience, you can relive or consider the ideas you've got about an experience from your past. But you have to think to do it. So you have to be thinking, and you have to be going around in the circles of why you think it happened, how you think it happened, why it shouldn't have happened, and all of the ideas associated with the experience in order to bring it into your present. Did you bring the idea into your present, or did you bring the event into the present? No. You brought your thoughts of the event into the present, and you took your present moment and decided not to be within it in your senses. You decided to be in it within your thoughts. And it might not seem like a choice, but because you made the idea very important from your past experience, then what happens is you get triggered into thinking of that idea. But it is you who's listening to the thoughts, and you who's retaining the importance that keeps the trigger alive. If you've decided that your trauma is defining you and it's important in this moment, it will continue to be important in this moment. And the more important it continues to be, the more of a trigger it will continue to be. Every time you share it with somebody, every time you share it with yourself and listen to the thoughts associated, you are increasing its importance, meaning it's becoming a bigger trigger. But every time you disregard the thoughts or decide not to make it important and not to listen to the associated thoughts, you are dissolving its importance. Yet, for those who are recurrent and experiencing the recurrence, you are sharing it with yourself, you are listening to the thoughts of it, and you are very interested in how it makes you feel and what those thoughts are saying. They are the idea of the trauma speaking, and as you listen, they get more important. So it's a very simple mechanism. The more you listen, the more important it becomes. The more you share it, the more important it becomes. And the more important it becomes, the more it's a trigger. If you want to keep your trauma, keep listening to the thoughts of it. If you don't, learn to get back to your senses and stay within the sensory input, which is this moment now. Because in this moment now, your trauma is over. It happened long ago, and it's nothing to do with the experience you're having today, unless you want to think about it.